to another corner in a matter of seconds. Yes, it just takes a second for information to flow from No1 in China to Rio Cureta in Argentina, which are 19,994 kilometers away, the two farthest points of the world. Even governments across the globe are scrambling their heads, for none of them have been designed or equipped to handle a crisis of this proportion. We have seen earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, but most of them were localized to one geography and lasted for a few days. But this tiny, invisible virus has been relentless in its pursuit of attacking human beings over a prolonged duration. COVID-19 has happened. And we don't know whether it is going to vanish suddenly or is going to last for a longer duration. Neither are in our control. But what is in our control is that we can sanitize ourselves, maintain social distancing, and we are living in a time where even near and dear ones cannot be seen. And the most tragic thing which people are coming to terms with is even the near and dear ones cannot attend and do the final rites for the deceased people. So, my dear friends, irrespective of nationality, color, tribe, gender, social status, poor or rich, this is a public problem, and not a soul on this earth has been left untouched by this pandemic. For the most powerful people in the world, the common man in the streets, every one of us have been affected in some way or other. In fact, originating from China, this coronavirus has been truly socialistic in nature. Amidst all these things, the changes which are happening all over the world, with the volatility, I do not want to be a passive and a mute spectator. Hence, through engaging conversation with business leaders across the world, doctors, and my own extensive research, my personal experiences and convictions, with all this, I'm coming out with the ultimate handbook to succeed amidst a global pandemonium caused by COVID-19 and beyond. I'm sanguine that through this work of mine, humanity and business would be in a position to find new ways to tackle the challenges thrown by this turbulent times. I personally believe that even after 100 years, in some corner of the world, someone will pick up this book of mine to know how humanity and businesses went through this pandemonium and turbulent times. This book is not about COVID-19. It is about the pandemonium caused by the pandemic. Welcome to No Reference Point. I'm releasing this book with a publisher being Motion Press on August 24th, 2020, and it will be available globally through Amazon, Flipkart, Motion Press, and many other leading bookstores. I do sincerely believe that you would lay your hands on this work of mine and gain insights which would help us to come out of this pandemonium in a smarter way. Thank you very much.
Stay tuned, guys. The event will start exactly at 7 o'clock.
Hi, this is JVC Sreeram, thought leader and international keynote speaker. These are unprecedented times, for nothing of this kind has been seen in the last 1 century. There is no reference point to look for guidance or draw inspiration from. The world has seen several calamities, but this is of a different magnitude. This is not like an HIV or an hepatitis kind of an infection. Human to human transmission, patients being asymptomatic, and the spread being across the globe has been unheard of in the past. The last time something of this kind had happened was during the time of outbreak of Spanish flu, which happened a century ago. And there can be no comparison to the world which existed then to today's modern world, where information from one corner of the globe can get transmitted to another corner in a matter of seconds. Yes, it just takes a second for information to flow from No1 in China to Rio Cureta in Argentina, which are 19,994 kilometers away, the two farthest points of the world. Even governments across the globe are scrambling their heads, for none of them had been designed or equipped to handle a crisis of this proportion. We have seen earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, but most of them were localized to one geography and lasted for a few days. But this tiny, invisible virus has been relentless in its pursuit of attacking human beings over a prolonged duration. COVID-19 has happened. And we don't know whether it is going to vanish suddenly or is going to last for a longer duration. Neither are in our control. But what is in our control is that we can sanitize ourselves, maintain social distancing, and we are living in a time where even near and dear ones cannot be seen. And the most tragic thing which people are coming to terms with is even the near and dear ones cannot attend and do the final rites for the deceased people. So, my dear friends, irrespective of nationality, color, tribe, gender, social status, poor or rich, this is a public problem, and not a soul on this earth has been left untouched by this pandemic. From the most powerful people in the world to the common man in the streets, every one of us have been affected in some way or other. In fact, originating from China, this coronavirus has been truly socialistic in nature. Amidst all these things, the changes which are happening all over the world with the volatility, I do not want to be a passive and a mute spectator. Hence, through engaging conversation with business leaders across the world, doctors, and my own extensive research, my personal experiences and convictions, with all this, I'm coming out with the ultimate handbook to succeed amidst a global pandemonium caused by COVID-19 and beyond. I'm sanguine that through this work of mine, humanity and business would be in a position to find new ways to tackle the challenges thrown by this turbulent times. I personally believe that even after 100 years, in some corner of the world, someone will pick up this book of mine to know how humanity and businesses went through these pandemonium and turbulent times. This book is not about COVID-19. It is about the pandemonium caused by the pandemic. Welcome to No Reference Point. I'm releasing this book with a publisher being Notion Press on August 24th, 2020. And it will be available globally through Amazon, Flipkart, Notion Press, and many other leading bookstores. I do sincerely believe that you would lay your hands on this work of mine and gain insights which would help us to come out of this pandemonium in a smarter way. Thank you very much.
Awesome evening, everyone.
Greetings for the day.
We hope you all are reigning on top of the world.
Myself, Prateek, and my friend Meenal would be your host for today's event. Meenal Sharma is a trainer by profession. She has a mentored by JVC Sreeram sir and has been heading this organization, Aura Leadership Foundation in Rajasthan. She is also running another organization by the name of Masya Trainings and Consultancy. Beside this, she is also pursuing her chartered accountancy.
Prateek Kothari, who's with me today, is a chartered accountant and a lawyer by profession. He's also pursuing his MBA into business analytics. Currently, he's associated with life insurance company, which is based in Pune, and is heading their GST operations on pan-India level basis.
So that's about us. Meenal, how are we going to go about the event for today?
Prateek, first of all, we should have few questions with the participants so that we get to interact with them. How does it sound?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
That's great. Yeah.
So by now, you all must have known that No Reference Point is a book which involves conversation with global leaders. And today, we are blessed with the presence of some of those global leaders that will grace this event and will share with us the knowledge that they have with them.
Also, our book has been reviewed by renowned people, and we have with us a couple of leading names in this event today. So yes, we all will be witnessing people from across the globe today, those who have actually made a very, very big difference in their world.
And we are kind of fortunate enough to have this event to be launched virtually so that each and every one of you with such big names can come on this single platform. After having heard from the contributors and reviewers in this program, we will finally have the book launch ceremony by the man himself, JVC Sreeram sir.
So far, we have seen JVC Sreeram sir as a mentor, a coach, a facilitator, as a training consultant, and in roles alike. But today, he is coming in front of us as an author. A new dimension to him is going to be unleashed today.
Following this, we will announce the discounts that are available for the purchase of this book, and yes, the list of the winners for all the quiz that has been running from last 4 days. Now that you have known about us and about the agenda for the day, we would like to know things about you guys. Are you excited to get into an interactive session with us?
Can we get a thumbs up if you are as excited as we are? A thumbs up, guys, everybody.
Yes,
Wonderful.
we can see the responses coming across. Yes.
Thumbs up, yes.
So, do you all know who Sreeram sir is? Have you followed the pages of Sreeram sir on Facebook and Instagram so that you can get all the required updates and discounts regarding the book? If you have not, we are giving you a minute so that you can go to your Facebook and instantly like Facebook's page of Sreeram sir. We will be sharing the link of the Facebook page and the Instagram page in the chat box.
Saitej, would you please share the link? Okay, until that happens, we want to know how many of you have taken part in the quiz that was put up on Sir's FB page. Please type yes if you have participated in the quiz. Yes, 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 yes. It's coming,
Okay, so
flooding.
we are getting the responses. Yes, we are getting the responses, and that is quite exciting. So all of the people who have actually shared, commented on the link are present here.
We have so many people, Prateek, who have participated in the quiz.
That's great. That's very nice. So guys, today also, one amongst you still stands a chance to win a free book that has been signed by Sreeram sir with a personal handwritten note to be delivered to your doorstep. We will now run a few questions and you will have to type the options like A, B, C, and D in your chat box. And our team would select the winner for today, which will be disclosed in the later part of the event. So, are you guys ready?
Show a thumbs up if you're ready, guys.
That's great. That's nice. We can see the responses coming on.
So shall we now start with the quiz again?
Yes.
All right. So here comes the first question. Which industry has been least affected by COVID-19? Least affected. And the options are A, information technology and services. B, consulting services. C, agriculture and agrochemicals. D, FMCG. You have 30 seconds to type in the answer and we will select the winner, which will be announced later. Quick, be quick, guys. Yes,
We can see the responses. It can be A, information technology, can be B, consultancy.
Remember,
Yes, we
it's
are
least
seeing.
affected sector.
Yes.
Least affected. Okay, so the time is up now. The answer to this is C, agriculture and agrochemicals. We'll now move to the next question.
Okay, so which industry has been the worst affected by COVID-19? The worst affected industry. And the four options are, the first one is automobile industry. The second option is aviation industry. The third option is MSME. And the fourth option is hospitality. So guys, yes, your time starts now. And it is a time limit of 30 seconds. Let's see how many of you can get the correct answer in the limited time.
So much enthusiasm, Prateek.
Yes, I mean, we can see different answers popping on the screen.
Chat box is flooding with answers.
That's great, guys. That's great, guys. Okay, so we have like 10 seconds left. Come on, guys, just 10 seconds. Okay, guys, that's it for the responses. And we'll play the right answer now. And the right answer to this question, the industry that has been worst affected by COVID-19 is C, hospitality. Yes. Okay, great, guys, great. Congratulations to whosoever who has given the right answers. And those who have not given the right answers should not lose any hope. Next questions are coming on. So, Saurabh, can we have the next question?
The next question asks that what did people miss the most during COVID-19? What did people miss the most during COVID-19? The options are first, going to offices daily. Option B says watching live sports and performances. Option C says shopping at malls and watching movies. D says visiting near and dear ones, that is socializing. Quick. In this, there will be the most suitable answer which would be selected. And that comes from the poll results that we have had based on the question that we have circulated.
Okay, Meenal, we are getting quite a lot of responses.
Yes. I'm telling you, it's flooding. People want to win.
Yes.
We're done with 30 seconds. Now,
yes.
The most suitable answer to this is D, visiting near and dear ones, that is socializing.
We have seen quite of D's over here.
Yes.
And it will be a very tough task for us to select the winners.
Yes, indeed. The last question comes now.
So what is this one quality that stood out in people during this COVID time to succeed? Can we have the options? A, adaptability. B, action oriented. C, staying positive. Or D, empathy. And your time starts now.
Quick, be quick.
Okay.
Be the winner. The last chance this
We
is.
are actually seeing all of the options popping up. Okay. So
Yeah.
A, B, D, yes.
This is the most
Yes.
confusing question, Prateek.
Nobody is going for C. I cannot see any staying positive, guys. Staying positive is important. Okay. Guys, 10 seconds remaining. Okay. Okay, guys, that's it. That's it. That's for the responses. And the right answer to this question is option number B, action oriented. The action oriented people are the one who are going to succeed the times coming ahead. That's it.
This was wonderful, amazing response. Chat box flooding with responses. Wonderful it was. Now let us move to the next part of our event, that is hearing from the global leaders, those whose conversation have been in the book in terms of contributions, and those who have reviewed our book. So let's hear from them.
Had this been a physical launch event, we would have applauded for their welcome. But here in this virtual launch event, we can actually press the applause icon and welcome them. Isn't it, guys? So now that I'm getting started, I want all of you to applaud the people who will be coming over here and will be sharing their insight on the book and their knowledge. Let us now welcome the head and director of India and neighboring countries of a global biotechnology company. In spite of having a very hectic schedule of setting up testing facilities all across the country, he has contributed to the book, not just by way of interviews, but by sending constant updates to Sir during this process. He has been an undaunted supporter to the book. In fact, Sir mentions his name in the acknowledgement, referring him to be as good as a co-author of this book. So let us now welcome none other than Mr. Manoj Jagatmohan. Can we please unmute Mr. Manoj Jagatmohan?
I think you will have to unmute. Saurabh, you have to unmute Manoj.
Can we
Saitej,
get the
if you can,
applause?
Yeah,
and Saitej, if you can please unmute Mr. Manoj Jagatmohan.
Hi Prateek. Hi Sreeram. Good evening, all of you. Can I talk? Can I start?
Please go ahead.
Yes,
you can
right.
even start the video. You can start the video also, Manoj.
Right. Okay. So first of all, thank you, Sreeram, and congratulate you on the launch of this book. I think it's an inflection point for you today. Reference point is something that is used to judge or understand something else. When COVID-19 was looming at us, we were looking for a reference point to prepare and equip ourselves to overcome the challenges. With Sreeram's no reference point, now there is a reference point actually. So thank you, Sreeram. And thanks for inviting me today. I mean, I see a very active participant guest list here virtually. Not very often do we see book launches done virtually. I think this is also one of the first few book launches, a very important book launch that's being done virtually. With Sreeram's no reference point, now there is a reference point. This is a culmination of a lot of painstaking hard work by Sreeram, with a lot of work done by speaking to experts, brainstorming with industry veterans, and interaction with visionary leaders. Sreeram approached me for an interview about COVID testing and business aspects in the country. This interview we had in June with a lot of conversations happening when India was ramping up the testing. To date, India has conducted about 35.9 million tests, with about 0.6 million samples tested yesterday alone. So we are actually ramping up testing. Today, we are reporting about 3.1 million cases, of which 2.33 million individuals have recovered, which is a big saving grace for us, which is about 98%. with about a mortality rate of about 57,715 deaths, which is about 2%. Daily new active cases these days is about 60 to 70,000 new cases, and highest went up to something like 70,000 northwards on 22nd August. All this testing happens mainly in government and private labs, which total about 1,520 labs, of which 65% are government labs and 35% are private labs. When you look at testing and its relevance, and testing has had a huge relevance to containing the COVID pandemic to the extent that we have done today. Everyone knows what is an RT-PCR, a real-time PCR system, which was a very novel word before the coronavirus struck us. The different testing options will enable implementation of the test, track, and treat strategy of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and ICMR. This is being well managed for a country with a population of 1.3 billion diverse population, varying density and challenges to accessibility and resources. When you look at testing, there are basically two different types of tests. One are basically the molecular tests, which is the gold standard, which is known as the RT-PCR test, which I suppose everyone on this in the group now knows what is an RT-PCR test. These tests are considered mostly very accurate. These tests are designed to identify the virus genetic code and therefore require a genetic sample, which is often collected from the upper respiratory tract, which is basically a swab. PCR testing is important because it helps you in early detection of the infection. And also PCR testing is important later in the outbreak because it shows us how the virus is transmitting through a population. So when you look at PCR tests on one hand, they're very important in the testing paradigm, but you also have a different types of tests called immunoassay tests, which are more rapidly used now. They are either the antigen-based tests or the antibody-based tests. So these are called as a rapid tests or the rapid detection tests, RDT tests. The results are much quicker, but you do not require a very heavy laboratory setup. However, the test results are more inaccurate than the RT-PCR tests. Antibody tests require a blood sample in order to identify the presence of antibodies in people who have already been infected. It does not accurately diagnose someone who is currently infected, as the antibody response is usually detected in patients who have already recovered. This test is usually used in disease surveillance. And then you have the antigen tests. These tests are referred as rapid diagnostic tests, are much quicker and do not require a huge laboratory setting. However, again, just like the antibody tests, they are less relevant and accurate, but you need to use them when you look at a community spread and beyond. When you look at business stability, it is becoming increasingly clear that COVID-19 will not disappear immediately. The economy will need to be managed along with persistent infection risks, possibly for a prolonged period with COVID-19 an unprecedented humanitarian challenge, which is a challenge for all countries. Some of the most urbanized and industrialized parts of the country are also the high infection rate zones, like most of our cities had initially. And the need to collectively find methods of keeping these zones operational and safe were critical in keeping economic stability to whatever extent sustainable. Economic activity on the ground may rise going forward, although reaching full potential would require considerable effort to boost local confidence. To open sustainable health system preparedness needs to be enhanced across a large number of districts, particularly the high infection rate zones. The future might remain uncertain, but the will is there, and we need to look ahead and plan for contingencies to come out very strong. Companies will have to prepare for a one-year recovery plan that looks at customers, people, processes, and products with innovation. The value deliverables to customers, depending on current and future needs, should be mapped and new delivery models designed. By stabilizing critical infrastructures, both internal and external, to ensure sustainability, we have to plan with budgets to ensure cash flows for both top line and bottom line management. And last but not the least, look at employee motivation and productivity. All in all, we need to take a holistic approach to restarting by creating a detailed reset map, which should stabilize critical infrastructure, strengthen coordination and communication for significant on-the-ground implementation, guide production, supply chain, and marketing and sales efforts, and help determine a recovery timeline for each function. The map should have a baseline, reopening scenario, as well as alternative scenarios, which would help in safeguarding the health of employees at workplace and outside the office, providing customers with safety guarantees that restore trust, reviving demand through newer value deliverables. There are going to be pandemics as we move forward. These are going to be part of the ecosystem that we're going to live in, and in the way we work with lots of new normals that have formed. We can't predict the future as to when all this would come, but we can seek to understand when and what the future might hold for us actually. So we need scenarios to bind the uncertainty to help us understand the underlying drivers of outcomes, and for understanding as to how we can shape the outcome. As we move forward, Sreeram's no reference point will help us in providing the insight and will help us empower to be battle ready during these pandemics. I wish Sreeram all the best for the launch of this book, which is going to be a huge inflection point in this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, all of you, and thank you, Sreeram. Stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for enlightening us with all the knowledge and being the support that you have been. Next in line is the first business leader with whom Sir connected for conversations which would go in book. He is a partner at Deloitte and is the one who gave insights from both employees as well as business owners' perspective. To get a sneak peek in his experience, let us welcome Mr. Ganesh Balakrishnan. With an applause, guys.
Thank you very much, Meenal. Good to connect with you. Thank you, Pradeep, for keeping us all engaged. A very good evening to everyone. Congratulations, Sreeram. I never knew that you'll ask me to speak, so I just said no reference point. So I start with no reference point here. And also, incidentally, when Sreeram started talking to me, saying that I want to just have about a couple of minutes to talk about, and I'm writing a book. I said, wow, what is that you're going to write a book? He said, I'm going to write a book during COVID times. So as many speakers talked about, in fact, if you see some of the videos that has been played by Sreeram, absolutely, we are connected through this medium called virtual. That's no reference point, which was not there before. Whatever you have experienced before is not what is going to be the present and the future. So there is no reference point. Sreeram has got the 3 C's, right? He always has beliefs in connecting with people. In fact, that is what I keep saying, that he connects with people. So therefore, the first stage what he started doing is connect with everyone. He doesn't know anyone in pharma, he just goes and talks. He doesn't know anybody in hospitality, he goes there. Second is, he committed himself to write this book. And finally, he came up with communications. He started communicating, quizzes, and that's a real great medium. So talking about the audit profession, I know in fact, one of the things that got covered in the book is on the audit profession. Most important for all of us, the world is changing. This COVID has actually taught us a lesson, adaptability. How do you adapt to change? If you don't adapt to change, you're no longer in business. So therefore, you need to adapt. There is a risk element in an audit profession. There is a risk element which is involved, because you always believe you used to go to a client, verify documents, get yourself satisfied. Now you have a situation wherein you need to sit back and do everything virtual. And this exactly brings about the tools and technologies. Today, if you see Sreeram with the way he's connected with people, today you can draw people, accountants, professionals, experts from outside of the country. So the location advantage is gone. Communication is only one language called the accounting language. So Sreeraman has actually taken a perfect example of no reference point. You can't take a reference of a Spanish flu. You can't take the Great Depression. You can't take the world collapse, the stock markets collapse. Now here is a case where the pandemic has created a pandemonium. That means, in other words, it has created chaos. But just think through, between what we were in February and today what we're in August, we are matured. We are very, very matured in terms of understanding. We are now responding to it. Earlier, we were dealing with it. We had the fear. Today, the fear is gone. Today, we know how to respond to it. From a reaction mode, we have gone to response mode. The reference point that we talk about, the no reference point, and what has been alluded by the earlier speaker, that the reference point of Sreeram will make huge difference, that what we were there before, what we are today, and how do you adapt to the future makes huge difference. I think what is very important, Sreeram, you've done a great service to all the people. And in fact, it's an effort that you've put in across meeting up with various business leaders across globe and getting their point of view. And this is today's world where knowledge can be spread through any modes of communication. And this going live through the Zoom technology is one aspect of it. I wish Sreeram the very, very best. And I'm sure we'll get more opportunity to interact. And may this book bring about a different perspective, the way of thought process. It's not a case of where you take a particular module and then you implement it. It is not going to work that way. You will adapt. This is a case study. You will understand and adapt in a real scenario. And I think this is what no reference point talks about. All the very, very best JVC. You're always jovial, you're always vocal, and you always communicate. And you're always passionate. In fact, I can't add because JVC Sreeram, so you're always passionate. All the very best, JVC. God bless you.
Thank you, Ganesh sir. That was very, very, very insightful coming from you. And I'm sure, as you said, that this no reference point would definitely become the reference point for everyone else coming in the future. The next gentleman to speak is a former CBI officer who has investigated Rajiv Gandhi assassination and has authored renowned books. Let's hear it from Mr. Raghutamam. Can you please unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to be a part of this crowd on this occasion. And I got introduced to Sreeram through one of my friends who is sitting behind me, Raja Mahalingam. And later on, he wanted a review from me of this book. Just without even reading the book, what he wanted, I went through all his speeches, all these things, the Google, the YouTube, and I said he's a God-gifted personality. This is my first. He's a God-gifted personality of this century. Because why I say is the knowledge which he has got, he's being exhausted every day by his speeches and by his seminar and all these things, but never gets empty. That is that tank, the knowledge tank is like Amurda Surabhi Mariatam. It is like that he has got it. And my best wishes and congratulations to you. As far as this COVID-19 is concerned, there's no reference point. Because you can't have any reference. And for any cases, for any instance, you always refer the past. But you will not come across this COVID-19 throughout this up to 20th century. Up to 20th century, I can say. There is no virus which has taken all over the world by sudden and unprovoked, and I can say nobody was expecting it. We have seen many countries, we have seen the advanced developed countries that any diseases can be cured. That was the scientist and all, everybody was having very good hospital facilities were there. But this has shown, this COVID-19 has shown that you have nothing. You have only humanity. You have to have only humanity. And Mr. Sreeram is the clinical surgeon who exposed COVID-19 with the humanity. Nothing but the humanity keeps you going on. That is my observation about him. And he rightly said in his book about this COVID and with the consultation of experts and all these things. But the basic point which he is emphasizing is the humanity needs to adapt to any pandemonium. That is the crux of this case, the crux of his book. That's what I could see. And thirdly and lastly, it is I am comparing this COVID-19 to Third World War. I gave in my review also, mentioned it also, why I mentioned this Third World War. The war means you have to, the casualties will be there, the human casualties will be there. And very much, and this is the unseen enemy we have been facing, and we have faced, and we have lost more than about 2 million, 3 million people all over the world. So it is more like a Third World War. We are confined to the houses within the four walls, and we are not able to really move out. Even in air bombing and other things, there is a blackout is there, and people are not advised to come out. But in any way, the comparison, I always say, my friends, if we are facing a Third World War against unseen enemy by this century, in this century. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Sreeram. I am very glad that you have written this book with no reference, but with the reference. The reference goes to you only. So you are the first man to get it and publish on this COVID-19 with all your input and knowledge. Best wishes and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you for the wishes and having that trust, sir, in strength and laying the power of humanity. We would now welcome the next guest speaker, saying that this book is extremely helpful in vaccinating our minds from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. He has spoken in terms of a psychologist, and he is actually one. He is an author and the founder of Impact Foundation. Let's hear from Mr. Gampa Nageshwar Rao. May we please have him unmuted?
Yeah, good evening. Congratulations, Sreeram, for wonderful book. Really, I'm very happy. And I know all of you, good evening to all of you. And I know Sreeram his last 21 years. I know his transformation. I know his transformation talk to the people. I know his students, how they transformed in their life. So after this book, definitely there is a reference point in the no reference point. Definitely people will change. And the Impact Foundation, on behalf of Impact Foundation, on behalf of all our students, we will greet you on this auspicious occasion, Sreeram. Wonderful. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Because why thanking you, you are giving the students a wonderful technology, wonderful transformation technology. And wish you all the best, Sreeram. May God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That was very insightful coming from you. Now, the Vice President of Reliance Geo World Center and former area manager of ITC Hotels is with us this evening. In conversation with sir, he not only shared the pain points of the hospitality industry, but also shared what could be the future trends for these sectors. Please tap the applaud reaction for none other than Mr. Virendra Rajdan. Can we have Mr. Virendra Rajdan unmuted?
Hi, good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Sreeram, for giving me this opportunity to address this August gathering, and especially on such a special occasion on your book launch. To be honest enough, when I speak about it, I do not have any reference point for my trade. Nothing of this sort has happened for the last 100 years since the time trade got, I would say, organized and documented. So we had few reference points for the last 33 years I have been in the industry. And we had 91 Iran-Iraq war when India got impacted, and after that the meltdown of 2018 and few recessions here and there, but nothing of this point, of this size, I must say. So definitely it is for the industry no reference point. So with this, I would like to also congratulate Sreeram for his book. I think he has done a fabulous job. As they say, God lies in the details. Sreeram has done an in-depth research in all aspects of the book, whatever he has represented has been represented in a very diligent manner and in a very detailed manner, and the correct information has been shared. When Sreeram conducted that, he approached me through one of my close buddies, Kiran Wari, and Kiran was going gaga about Sreeram. And when I had limited interaction with Sreeram, I was amazed by his knowledge and the way he puts things into perspective. It brings different dimensions to your own trade, to your own understanding of the trade. So while I was narrating many aspects of our trade to him, making him understand how capital intensive this trade is, capital as well as labor intensive this trade is, certain aspects and the questions which he asked me definitely put me in a different trajectory, and my learnings have been quite immense post my, I think, 1 hour session with Sreeram. Sreeram, thank you very much for that. I think you brought in many aspects to me which I had felt but not understood. So thank you for that. Just to give you all an update about our industry, tourism industry at this point in time in this country, 70% of the industry is shut. When we say tourism industry, does not mean only tourist spots. I'm talking about hotels of every star category, whether it is 1 star to 5 star to 5 star super deluxe in both metros and non-urban areas are not operating. 70% of them are shut because they deal with people. All trades relating to the tourism are shut at this point in time. Airlines, you all know how airlines are going bust, online travel agents, offline travel agents, taxi services, leisure travel, business travel, all aspects. And in this business, the margins are very thin. And when you get a gap of 6 months to 1 year, when you are not making money to maintain your business, then those business operators are left with no other choice but to shut the shop. So as it has also come in your survey that the most affected industry is tourism or hospitality, as you have mentioned, and that is true. And hospitality and tourism contributes almost 1% to the GDP of this country. I'm sure once we come out of this, which we see another 2.5 years, because unless the vaccine is not produced and almost everyone on this planet is not vaccinated, the travel won't start in a full-fledged manner. And we don't see travel improving before 2023, 24, means another 2 years from now. So that confidence has to come, where the people have to feel safe while traveling and while staying in the hotels. So we see still a lot of turmoil in the industry next 2 years. And I'm sure when Sreeram publishes his volume 2 of No Reference Points, there will be quite a few reference learnings from this, which will help future generations to go back, because I'm sure nothing worse than this will happen in this universe, maybe for another 100 years. So with this, I wish Sreeram all the best, and thank you very much for making me part of your No Reference Points, which will definitely create some references for future.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking with us and being the guest speaker. Yes, nothing of this sort has happened before, and that holds true in situation like this. The next person, the next guest speaker we have is a partner at EY Gibraltar. He has given a global perspective to our book. He's not just a client of Sir, he's a dear friend to him. He brought to light some stunning insights on impact of COVID and how European continent was handling the crisis. He is joining us from London today. We welcome you to our event, sir, and we would be elated to hear you speak. Mr. Dale Cruz, can we have you on the screen and unmuted?
Meenal, I'm sorry, Dale got disconnected. Just now he messaged.
Okay, sir. Okay, so
we'll move to the next speaker. He was in a hospital with his daughter, so he got disconnected in London. Yeah.
All right, sir.
So, moving on with our next speaker. Agriculture is a sector where companies have come out functioning pretty well. We have with us the Managing Director and CEO of Seedworks International Private Limited, an agricultural company. He has shared his inputs not just for COVID times, but also about the trends on how to go forward with this sector. Please welcome Mr. Venkatraman Vasantwada. Can we have Mr. Venkatraman unmuted?
Hello, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sreeram, for the opportunity. And what an appropriate title, No Reference Point. Well, to let the audience know, thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks so much for all the, my participants who have contributed to the book and others who are raising the occasion. Me and Sreeram, we have known each other for quite some time. In fact, Sreeram helps us in some of the OD activities in our company. And we have thoroughly enjoyed all the interventions what Sreeram has done. Obviously, for some of you who know him well and for some of you who don't know him so well, he is brutally honest and very upfront. And that is what, he is actually required to. So, and then I never knew about this side of Sreeram of, writing a book. And then in the pandemic, when most of us, we were actually struggling to get our businesses back and, doing all those mundane things. I think this is a great thought to pen your thoughts and leave it to the next generation, as some earlier speakers were talking about. Now, this is something which hopefully would not repeat again for a long period of time. Now, this book of Sreeram, No Reference Point, will at least help generations to understand and navigate the crisis when these things like this happen. Most of us who are here in this audio launch would not have experienced this kind of event in our lifetime, given our age groups and given, the kind of this thing. So I think this has been an unprecedented event. All of us we know, and this is now past. And all of us, we are now trying to get adjusted to the new normal. But yes, while adjusting it, I think Sreeram is doing a great job of penning thoughts, gathering experiences of practicing, managers across and individuals, entrepreneurs and all, and penning it down, which would definitely help. While he's saying no reference point, obviously it would be a reference point for the generations to refer and then probably, calibrate their activities. Let us all, one thing which we all have to acknowledge is, since the Spanish flu happened long back, we are taking references from that. People are saying, oh, Spanish flu, the first wave was like this, but the second wave was more. So we always have some learnings which come up. So I think the book by Sreeram will definitely help generations, to have some reference point about these kind of situations when they meet and all. So I think, thank you so much, Sreeram. I thoroughly enjoyed having conversations with you. I continue to enjoy all the help which you extend to our company in terms of all the OD interventions and stuff like that. So coming back to a little bit about the industry, I think all of you are well read and I don't have to keep talking about it. But yes, agriculture and the allied industries were fortunately, least affected by the pandemic. That was in fact the first question, because all of us, we know that food security is of a prime importance. The governments and the policy makers would not want to have one more problem at hand when they were dealing with a pandemic, which itself was, a very, very complex thing. So to that extent, I think I should thank both the central and the state governments, and as well as, the entire government machinery of extending all the help which was required. Probably, the pandemic broke by March 21st, if I remember, it was a Janta curfew, and then we went. It took us only 3 or 4 days to quickly come back and then get onto our, assembly lines to produce, to, harvest it, process it, and get into the markets. I have at least not seen in my 2 decades of experiences of policymakers, bureaucrats, politicians coming up together and addressing an issue which was so quick. I mean, that is really appreciable. The local government of Telangana, where the central governments and all the respective state governments. And I think, but for their support, but for their encouragement and their facilitation, I think we would not have experienced this kind of a bumper kharif crop which we are looking at, and then the good rabi harvest in the procurement. So I think that was a great thing, and hopefully today, if we all are having food in our, probably people are reaching out, complexes, vegetables, everything is coming out. I think we should thank all the farmers, but definitely thank all the people who have enabled it. So that was a little bit about the industry. While unfortunately the pandemic is now hitting the hinterlands, and we have to see how the kharif harvest is channelized and managed it. But hopefully, I think things should be kind of favorable to agriculture industry is what we are hoping. Now, on the other side, some of the key learnings what I have shared with Sreeram during the situation. One of the important things when you are managing businesses, and when there are a lot of employees and their families who are actually looking up to you and looking up to the leadership on how they would respond. So the first thing was the entire piece around employee well-being and safety. That was of a prime concern to, because a pandemic is there for everybody, the frontline guy to the senior most guy in the this thing. So that was a huge reassurance, protocols developed, tools developed, all the help which was extended to everybody, saying that, of course, the lockdowns has locked us everybody. But when it opened up also, that was one of the prime things which we as a company were looking at. So the whole employee well-being and safety. And some of the key learnings which I would say during, as being a practicing manager, one of the things is gratitude. Gratitude and appreciation is one thing which we all, today we all are alive and talking in this Zoom meeting. I would say gratitude to the Almighty, because He has, ensured that we are safe and we are, up and running. Gratitude to all the COVID warriors, gratitude to all the employees of the company who have put their lives at risk and their families at stake while, working, obviously serving the farmers or serving the community or getting revenues for the company or whatever. So I think times like this is one thing which we all should look at it, the whole gratitude and appreciation for this entire machinery which has ensured that a large chunk of population stays safe. And then, they continue on their normal duties. So that is the first thing which I would call for, the whole gratitude and appreciation piece. The second one, which has been a big learning, again, as a leader, is communication. Be very open, transparent in your communication, because everybody wants to listen, because this is a crisis. People are worried about their jobs. People are worried about their salaries coming in time and all. So I think courage is not about, putting up a facade. Courage is about accepting and saying that at leadership also we are vulnerable, we are also scared about it, but let us all come together to fight this pandemic. And yes, we are very optimistic about the future, but this is the crisis currently we are going through, and we would require all your support and help. So that is a courage which, I am basically, talking about, and being very open and transparent in communication to all the stakeholders, whether it is your vendors, whether it is your employees, or whether it is your partners. And believe me, that has actually helped us a lot as a company in navigating this crisis. The other one is empathy. Empathy for the people, because you don't know what, today all these formats are looking good, but not everybody is resourced enough to have, nice bandwidths, separate rooms, and all the tools which are required. So when we were doing this, when we were going through the crisis, when we are organizing these meetings, I think at least that is what I told my leadership team, be very, very conscious about it. The last guy in the chain who is working from a remote village might not be as equipped as he is. He might not be having a 3-bedroom flat with, a separate study and all. Appreciate, empathize with him, and then probably, adjust to him rather than push him. So I think empathy is what employees would expect at this point of time from the leadership. And that is something which, we all, and this actually should continue because the pandemic is, not yet over. So the last one is actually geography has now become history. If I have to say that, when we also had subsidiaries, in other parts, in Singapore, in Philippines and all, earlier what used to happen is the guy who is sitting in India, that guy is closer because, geographically, you're all sitting in the same office, you have more face time. today I would say geography has become history because everybody gets into the same format of communication and about discussions. So it is now no longer relevant. Meetings have become much more efficient because you have to log in, log out, and get on to your next meeting. And I think so. This pandemic has taught us many things about how one needs to not only how to navigate the whole crisis, which hopefully we are all doing it, and then we will be much more successful as we keep learning, but also how to recalibrate our business models, how to recalibrate our approach towards some of the things which we are doing just because we were doing it for the past so many years. And lastly, the whole human element of this. I mean, huge lessons around this, and that is the reason why I took some time in talking about employees and humans in general, how we have experienced it, how together we all have come and kind of conquered it. But some of these things are extremely important for us as a company to be successful, and it is the same mantra across anywhere. So these were some of the things which I shared with Sreeram during my discussions with him. And again, I think I don't want to come between the launch of the book and this. So congratulations, Sreeram. Super happy for you. Great efforts. And I think you took time during this crisis to write a book. That itself is a great effort. Congratulations again, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Venkatram Vasantwada, sir. Thank you for enlightening us with a brief description about those 5 points which are very important. We'll read about it in length and breadth in the book. So we could not have the first global perspective, but we have another global perspective lined up as a guest speaker. So another global perspective comes from a man who has been there throughout the last decade, supporting, advising, guiding, and inspiring, sir. He shared his updates time and again on developments in Kenya and East Africa. He's been in Kenya from last 3 decades and is now a group strategic consultant with Industrial Promotion Services Kenya Limited. We shall now welcome Mr. T. Ramamurthy. Can we please have you on the screen, sir? And please, a big round of applause for him.
We just got an update that Mr. T. Ramamurthy, his call has been dropped and he's not able to connect. So moving on, we have with us the co-founder and joint managing director of Medica Hospital Groups, which is a chain of 11 multi-specialty hospitals spread across Eastern India. They are the ones who have acted to bring change on as early as 18th of February 2020 to face COVID-19. We will now get an informative insight from Mr. Udayan Lahiri. Can we have Mr. Udayan Lahiri unmuted?
Good evening, Sreeram. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Good evening, Mr. Sreeram and your team and everybody present on this forum. I would like to thank you all for organizing this, even though a function like this wasn't something that anyone could have thought of probably 6 months back. It had to be a function where people would come in, where there'll be people talking from the podium, but this is something which we've got used to in our times. I have not known Mr. Sreeram at all, and he came to me through a reference of a friend. And it was just that I was told that someone wants to talk to somebody from healthcare regarding how we are managing with COVID. I thought it would be a short dialogue between me and Mr. Sreeram, which probably lasted for around 45 minutes to an hour. And I could make out from his questions and his queries and his comments throughout that duration that how focused he was in trying to get the learnings from whatever we had learned during COVID times passed on to everybody, so that experience and that inputs which we gathered from this stressful time would be known to everyone. So I congratulate Mr. Sreeram for this wonderful thing that he has done. He has collated experience from people who have been working in different spheres I think it would, the no reference will definitely become a reference for any future such calamities or pandemics that we may foresee, which we may have. Coming to medical hospital, when we heard of COVID the first time, it was probably end of December and January. And we are very, very privileged to have our chairman, Dr. Alok Roy, who had a foresight to see that we were not somebody who would not get touched by COVID. So as early as February, the hospital had started training its staff, putting infrastructure in place to fight something which was not seen. We could only hear about it in newspaper, in TV, and read about it in newspapers. So many of us at that point of time felt, why are we investing so much of time and money into something which actually is nowhere here, not even in India. And I remember coming back from Mumbai on 8th of March, and Mumbai airport was as normal as any other place in Maharashtra. And today, if you see Maharashtra, I think they have been the worst hit state across the country. So what we learned during COVID, I think as a leader, I would say the ability to foresee things, and not just foresee, you have to act on it, and act in a manner where you don't cause panic. So I think any fear rises from the unknown. So the first thing was to enlighten our own staff to know more about COVID, how it spreads, and how we can avoid it. So I think those were some of the initial steps which we took, which helped us as a company, as a group. We have around 5,000 employees. And I'm happy to state that even as of today, probably on the higher side, we'll probably have under 20 people who got infected from COVID. And there also, I would say that not all of them got it from the hospital. Like, it's so much spread in the community, probably we got somewhere else. So what were the things which were the challenges? One, definitely in any crisis, money, material, manpower. So in the healthcare industry, I think manpower showed the way that how important it was. We could replace, we could make new infrastructure, we could get material, though it was hard to find, but there was no way to get or replace manpower. So I think our first effort was to conserve our people. We immediately got into scheduling of our people who would work for 14 days and then they would go off for 14 days. So our numbers in the hospital, across all the hospitals, the patient numbers went down drastically. At one point of time in our Calcutta hospital, which is a 500-bed hospital, we had just 42 patients. So there was stress on every aspect of it, but I think that conservation of manpower at that point of time was critical for us to survive through the pandemic. Good things happened during the pandemic, and I think everyone should look at it from that point of view. Because of the lockdown, people didn't come out. There was no pollution. During this time of the year, every year we find a lot of people coming in with problems of bronchial asthma, lung-related problems, and those we didn't find at all this year. Yes, many of them did not come to the hospital because of fear of the pandemic of COVID. But overall, if you see, the number of deaths this year, which we have seen, is far less than what we normally see. There were certain unfortunate incidents, like people who had cardiac problems. They did not come to the hospital thinking that they will get COVID if they come to the hospital. And they delayed their coming to the hospital, and eventually we could not save many of them. There were people like a small child who came to us. She was bitten by a snake, and everyone was focused on treating her for the snake bite. Only once she had recovered from the snake bite that we realized that she was also COVID positive. She did not show any signs of being positive. Thankfully, because of the protocols that we had placed in, we had taken all the measures, safety protocols, so that our staff didn't get it. So I think three people were mainly involved in healthcare industry. One was the government, second one was the hospitals, and third was the public. I think all of them played their role. I think the kind of advisories that we had from the government in West Bengal, and also I think health ministry from Delhi, it was like by the hour we were told that this is the new protocol. So the only thing that was constant in our life was change, and how we managed that change was the essence of how we came out of COVID. I'm happy to state that today, though many of the industries, many of the enterprises are still facing issues with regard to how to sustain their businesses. And many people came to me and said, "Oh, you are in healthcare. Oh, you don't have any problem. You have a lot of patients." But that was really not true. And we suffered as much as anybody else. Our expenses went up, all material, infrastructure, manpower. We had to, there were certain instances like doctors, nurses were not allowed to go into their communities, saying that you work at the hospital, so we won't allow you inside the gated community. And we had to get guest houses, we had to get hotels for them to stay. We were the first in the country to tie up with guest house and hotels to keep the patients who were not so critical and monitor them there. And then it started in Delhi, and then the rest of the country joined it. So I think how you look at a problem, whether you get scared and you say, no, I'm not going to treat a patient who's coming with COVID, or you say, yes, we are a multi-specialty, we are a super specialty hospital and we will treat. I think it is not just a hospital, I would say it all businesses, how you treat a problem is how you come out of it. So with that, I would like to end here and again, congratulate Mr. Sreeram. My word of advice is, please stay alert. Don't indulge in taking unnecessary risks, because I see people already not wearing masks outside, not keeping the social distancing, which is very much required, not washing their hands or sanitizing their hands often. I think those are the things which will keep us going, and we are far from getting out of COVID. This is going to continue, but the learnings are far reaching, and I think a lot of it has been captured by Mr. Sreeram. So thank you so much for having me here, and thank you, Mr. Sreeram, for talking to us. And I think what worked for us and what I would appreciate here is that each and every staff member of my hospital and led by my chairman, Dr. Roy, were equally responsible for how we have been able to come out of the stressful times. There's still more to come, but yes, we are much better prepared and ready to face and fight COVID. Thank you.
Rightly said, sir. Fear of the unknown. All of us who are from CA fraternity over here in this event would know the guest speaker who is coming next. We have with us the chairman of Deloitte India. Yes, you have heard it right. He has contributed to our book as a reviewer. Now let us please welcome him with a very, very, very big round of applause. Can we have Mr. P.R. Ramesh unmuted, please?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to speak at this historic event, I may say. Historic because no one has written a book like this before. My compliments to Sreeram, and I must particularly compliment him on being so courageous. Normally one writes a book either about the future or about something which has happened. But to write in the midst of something which is happening, where the contours of which are still so uncertain, effect is we are all still grappling with it. And in that, if you to write a book, it requires vision, it requires no doubt courage, it requires the ability to be able to look at all aspects of it, which he has brought out very well in his book, and I truly compliment him for that. Today, what we are witnessing is not just a global pandemic. I believe that some of the disruptions which we are seeing have only got accelerated because of COVID-19. There were disruptions arising out of the technological changes, the fourth industrial revolution, as we would call it, changes arising out of the socio-political, shall I say, boundaries being redrawn, trade agreements being rewritten, whole host of changes across the world. COVID has only further accelerated this. But having said that, it has left a trail of destruction. Not only has it impacted people, it is not just about the number of deaths, the number of positives, the number of negatives, those who have recovered from it. It is not about that. It has also resulted in impact on businesses across. Everybody is vulnerable, and everybody now, just as much individuals require treatment, individuals require to be hospitalized, individuals require to be put on ventilators or given medicines. Businesses too are now today in ventilator stage in some of them. Businesses are being put on oxygen through fiscal and other supports which are happening. But just as we are all looking forward to a vaccine which is to be there, we are all looking forward to how this and when this will go away. What has happened really, in my view, is businesses today have not only adapted themselves to this admirably, including the people aspect of it, but most importantly, disaster recovery and prevention plans and business continuity plans are being rewritten. Everybody realizes that this is not the final pandemic. There could be many more things which would happen. So the key thing which businesses today are all doing, including professions like us, is to be prepared for events like this. How do we, what sort of business vaccines we need to have to be able to prevent us from being impacted by events like this? What sort of treatment we should have to be able to, navigate events like this and come out successfully? That's what businesses today are looking at, using this as an opportunity and as a learning ground. And that is what I would see as the future. Businesses would be more resilient, businesses will be more better prepared, and businesses will therefore be able to withstand the shocks even of any other event, because I don't think there could be a worse event than what we are facing today. Sreeram in his book has brought out this very well by covering a wide variety of industries with interviews of business leaders and with very, very useful anecdotes. I compliment him of this, and I would urge all my acquaintances and contacts to use this in a way as a reference, though book is titled No Reference Point. My best wishes to you, Sreeram, and looking forward to volume 2 of this book. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What an amazing experience to have such eminent personalities share their insight with us, isn't it?
Yes, exactly, Pradeep. Now, are you all pepped up to hear from the author himself? I do not feel I can do justice to introduce him on my part. So may we have a very, very big applause for the author, that is Sreeram sir himself. May we please tap on the applause icon?
Saurabh, if you can please play the video.
I would request the host to be a little fast because I'm straight going to launch the book. That's it.
Sreeram sir, may we please have you on screen?
Yes, I'm there on screen. So
Now
thank you
on
very
screen.
much for every one of you who have come here and have taken the time. And thanks for so many of you who have spent your valuable amount of time in either coming with a conversation and sharing your inputs. As Mr. P.R. Ramesh rightly mentioned, that yes, it was a challenge, something about the past or something about the future, something happening, and that could not have happened without the support of all of you. And the encouragement which I got from the people who have reviewed this book. I think a few people's reviews, they were not able to make it for today's function. So first, let me share that, and then I will go on to launch this book. So I would like to share a few people who have not been able to make it for today's event. And I would like to share their reviews, which I think gave me a lot of confidence that yes, I'm in the right track. This is the gentleman, VVS Laxman, and this is what he has got to say about the book. VVS says the COVID pandemic has caused the most significant disruption to humanity in every aspect, including sports. The research base and case studies of JVC Sreeram are awesome. The anecdotes are engaging and the path to action is crystal clear. A must-read book to succeed in this pandemonium times. Thank you, VVS Laxman. And I have Dr. Ivan Misner, a very good acquaintance of mine, founder of BNI, a New York Times best-selling author. Personally, I've met him a few times and it has been an amazing experience. I always believe that if you wait until tough times are over, your business will be over. From the calamity of the pandemic, opportunities do arise. JVC Sreeram shows us how to adapt to the changes that are happening. There's a must-read book for individuals and entrepreneurs to quickly adapt and succeed amidst the turbulent times the world is going through. And it's an honor to be, this is, I should say, the Lieutenant General Anil Kapoor is serving commandment in the army. He took the permission, the book went up to the intelligence bureau so that his review can come. He's not able to come here purely because it is on Zoom. The author brings about pragmatic leadership lessons and provides perspectives on how organizations prepare for the new normal. There are a number of lessons to be derived out of this book. Thank you so much. Mr. Sanjay Kaul, an IAS officer, former IAS officer, chairman of National Collateral Management Services. The book gives a pointer to practical ways to navigate in the spirit of turbulence, disruption and change in all. A wonderful, inspiring book written in a pacey, engaging style and a must read. And I also reached out to doctors and Dr. Ravi Shankar, consultant, senior cardiologist. He talks about being useful to senior management, MSMEs and CEOs, and more importantly for the government agencies, healthcare leaders and doctors to deal with the crisis. I would like to immensely thank each one who have made it today. I have a few people who probably would be sharing. So at this point of time, I'm extremely proud that I could be action-oriented. I did spend the time working day in and day out for this book. This was not supposed to be my first book. My first book was Public Speaking, The Power of Human Voice. But as this pandemic was getting along, Mr. T. Ramamurthy, who would be speaking immediately after this, told Sreeram, the book on public speaking can take a little bit time. But if you have this concept, if you have this idea, go ahead and do it. So I'm extremely proud and I'm happy to bring it in front of you, the no reference point. Thank you so much. I don't know whether this is the right way to launch or not, but this is the way I can think of launching. And this will be available in Amazon. It's already available in Amazon and Flipkart and Amazon Notion Press, sorry. And Flipkart, it should be available in a day or two. And Amazon.com, it will be available in 5 days. So I just want to read out something here because, one column which I'd like, and I would just want to read it out instead of, giving any speeches. I've always given speeches. You've seen me speaking, but today I'm not going to speak much. I'm writing about the MSMEs. Let this pandemonium show the transformation of the business community's minds and hearts. The easiest thing to do would be for a large manufacturing company to say, the supplier has gone bankrupt and let's import from Japan or some other country. This attitude has killed our ecosystem for long. But if this attitude prevails, one day a large manufacturing company would also face the same situation that is probably being faced by MSMEs today. So let's seriously ponder over the idea that we discussed in this book and look to implement the solution. I am reminded of a dialogue from the movie Coach Carter. One person struggles, we all struggle. One person triumphs, we all triumph. Let it resonate now. If one business loses, the entire business community loses. And if one business triumphs, the entire business community triumphs. Let this book be the reference point of so many people, for so many people in surviving and succeeding amidst the global pandemonium. I've not put my photograph in this book because I don't think it's my book. It's the world's book. It's the community's book. It is a book which is born out of the conversations and dialogues which I've had with over 25 people who have made it possible. So just my name is there, but it's your book. It's not just my book. So thank you so much for being here. And I think this whole concept, this event, it's not my videos, were done by Venki, amazing hosting by Pratik Kothari and Meenal Sharma, and Saurabh Botra and Kyati were on the backside. I can't just say anything. It's an amazing thing. And I have, I think Mr. T. Ramamurthy has joined probably quickly because 8:30 we want to close the function. We have another 15 minutes. I would like my friend also, Melvin Moses, whose company grew by 29%. Operation profits grew by 29%. And we were able to, because when Melvin, I heard certain things from Melvin, I said, hey, you guys are not going to get affected due to pandemonium and pandemic and COVID. So come, let's have an interview. And he came for the interview. And the board permitted him to publish the case study in my book. You know, it's there as a case study. It's there as a case study in the book, a UPL case study. And by the time this book went for the last edit, UPL had posted 29% operating profit growth, operating profit. So we have covered that. So Melvin, just take a minute and I would like to hear from you, please. Sorry, host, I'm taking over now. So just Melvin and Mr. T. Ramamurthy. Melvin, come in. Is he there, Melvin? Yes, Melvin. Go ahead, Melvin. Just take a minute or two, please. We are running out of
time. I won't take much time. Congratulations, Sreeram and the whole team that made this happen. And I've been, I know Sreeram for several years now. We studied together in college. And then one day he called me to have a small chat about what we are doing. And then it went into almost an hour of intense discussion where we discussed many points on how we overcame the difficulties of pandemic. I work for UPL. So we focused on doing the basics. We ensured that the MSME vendors are taken care. We ensured that our logistics partners are fully equipped to supply trucks. We took care of the guest workers who are basically the bottom of the pyramid in any manufacturing system. We took care of our own employees. We guaranteed them jobs and told them that they just have to come to work. We took care of everything related to social distancing within the factories. And we also ensured that the growth happened in terms of projects, engineering, and all that expansions. All that work also continued at the same pace. So we took care of the whole supply chain. We had a rapid response task force to take care of people, community, logistics, manufacturing, planning, supply chain. So, and then we realized that if you do the basics right, things will fall in place. We just have to go that extra mile, empower our people, trust our factory managers, and give them all the freedom to operate and take it as their own business and work, keeping farmer first in mind. With all this, we could successfully get through, and every single day, even today, we are alert to the situation. We monitor the health of every single individual entering the factory. So with this level of alertness and with the speed at which we took action, I believe that not only this pandemic, if something else happens in future also, we'll be able to tide over this. Thanks, Sreeram, and it was a wonderful time working with you on this. And I wish Sreeram and the whole team all the best for this achievement, for releasing this book. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Can we have Mr. T. Ramamurthy unmuted, please?
Good evening to all. Hope you are able to hear me out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Greetings from Kenya. And the success depends on not managing things in the normal times. And the situational management is the one which differentiates or determines who is the best leader in any aspect of life. Being relevant is most desired thing for anyone who wants to make a difference. In addition to it, adding value with knowledge and experience and sharing with many to benefit from is a great job. Sreeram has passionately worked on this and got onto this task and managed to bring it on stage to offer a reference book called No Reference Point. The title means a lot. You can get perspective from the approach people have taken to manage the situation. Different people have different approaches to manage the common challenge of unprecedented situation faced by all uniformly across the world. Just to tell you, in Kenya, we never closed any business. We are doing extremely well. In Uganda, despite the lockdown and the curfew, as a group, we have done better than the last 3 years, as we have taken advantage of the incompetency of the competition to sustain the situation and the greater demand created for the pharma products. We have never sent anybody home. We have never cut down salaries for the people. And we have, on the other hand, given incentive for the people to come and support and manage the situation. And people have made another 2 months extra salary in this year. Businesses which have a diversified portfolio of verticals and products have sustained well. To speak of Sreeram, who is an eloquent speaker and a deep thinker, has come out boldly at this time of need to spend his time to write a book which is commendable. The new normal is something like the old wine in the new bottle. There are certain cultural things that we have brought back, besides getting into the networking benefits. Some leaders are exposed and some have emerged in this situation, and both in politics and also the businesses. The businesses which do not have clear vision, a robust structure, and a plan for growth and sustainability are the ones going back to the drawing board or collapse. This is a wake-up call. Let us read, interact, adapt the best practices to manage our business and sustain with our credibility with all our stakeholders. Sreeram has come out with this no reference point as a point of reference for the people to look at, with all the experiences and interactions that he had with a lot of people and brought in to share with all the people who will be going through this book. I wish Sreeram all the best with the launch of this book. And I know him for more than a decade. I've exploited his and skills in East Africa, and I wish him all the best. And thanks to all the listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Going quickly, we will now be acquainting you with all the discount offers that are available for the purchase of our book. In case you have any doubt, you can type it in the chat box. Saurabh, can we please have the discount slide? So there are two ways to order primarily. First is from Amazon. You can order the book from Amazon at $5.99, and then you'll get an Amazon gift card worth ₹150. Over and above that, you'll get a Notion Press free vouchers worth ₹150. If you order directly from Notion Press, you can order the book for INR 456 by using coupon code launch1T20 and launch2T20 for the first 150 orders. For bulk orders of more than 5 books, use coupon code launchbulkt20 to avail discount of 32%. We will be posting this slide on Sir's Facebook page or on Sir's Facebook ID so that every one of you can avail the discount opportunities. It is now time for us to disclose the winners who will get a free book signed by Sir along with the personal handwritten note from him. Can we have the slide for the winners, please?
Saurabh, can we please have the slide for winners? The first winner is Nupur Lahoti for the day 1. The second day's winner is Ramesh Shrikonda. Third is Ankit Juneja. Fourth is Manisha Tiwari. And for today, we have Mansi Sharma as a winner. So we will be sending you the details on your email ID after connecting with you, and you'll be getting your signed copy from sir with a personal handwritten note.
Thank you. It is indeed a very proud moment for a dad to see his son succeed. We have today with us Sreeram sir's dad, who would be speaking about the book and about Sreeram sir's journey.
Short.
Saitesh, can we have sir's dad unmuted?
National, I think. Indian. Indian is the thing. You're not able to. I would like to, Pratik, sorry, I would like to request Vishal Menon to have a quick word. Extreme thanks to the publisher. He's the publisher for me. Vishal, can you just unmute yourself, please, for a minute? I would like to just have a quick hearing from you. Vishal? Oh, my dad has come.
My dad has come. Oh.
You can speak, Pa.
Oh, Sultan.
You can speak.
Oh.
You can have a quick speak. But
Oh, can I start speaking?
yeah, you can speak. You can speak.
Oh, to introduce myself, it is Venkatram Chandrasekharan, retired teacher of mathematics and English, fondly known as VC in Marina Beach, Chennai, Triplicane. Welcome you all, one and all, for the launching of the function of the book by JVC Sreeram, my younger son. For everyone, not a day passes without a reference to Corona, which has become a dread fear of the entire community. No doubt, it is the talk of the town and the talk of the world. What a misfortune. In this backdrop, this book, which I feel is the need of the person, especially those who are in the government administration, those who are in the medical field, and the business class people in their own field of activity, while wishing the author all success for his endeavor. I pray to the Almighty to save us all from Corona COVID-19, which is still invisible and in incognito. I thank you all for encouraging my son, J V C Sreeram. Thank you all. I bless you. I pray to God for your long life and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Appa. Thank you, Appa. Thank you, Shyam. Thank you very much for connecting. It is a very emotional moment. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Can we now have the publisher?
Pratik, 1 minute. Meenal,
Yes,
I would like Vishal Menon to have a quick word before we wrap it up. Vishal Menon is the
publisher.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Sreeram. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here among all of you. It was a true pleasure working with Mr. Sreeram. And, they say you learn a lot from your clients, and I learned actually a lot during this journey from Mr. Sreeram in terms of how empathetic one can be, and how empathy actually goes a long way during this period. So he was actually mentioning to me about his work with a client in Kenya at the time when this book came up a few months ago, and it was really quick. We had a very quick discussion on how we have to plan the whole thing, but kudos, he made this happen. Actually, a couple of my colleagues too sent their regards. They wanted to actually drop by, but they couldn't due to some personal emergencies. Martin, who worked as the beta reader for the book, and Shweta, who worked as Mr. Sreeram's publishing manager for this and the other book as well. So we're really excited to work with Mr. Sreeram, and he actually there's a lot to know about this man. He's got he's like an onion, you know, of sorts. Maybe a bad analogy, but he's got layers, and there's so much learning to go. I'm glad I could engage. I'm looking forward to more ventures with him as well.
Thank you so much, Vishal. And I would like to thank each one of you. And I can't miss anybody's words. You know, thank you. Please convey my thanks to Shweta, Martin, Nivedita, and to the entire team, Notion Press team, for working at a jet breakneck speed. You know, this has also shown that, you know, we can keep up with the latest updates. Because August 1st is when Mr. Melvin Moses, the head of supply chain of UPL, gave us the numbers and it got incorporated. Okay, that's how it was. Yeah. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, Pratik. Thank you, Meenal. I leave it to you. And I want you to share the links of Amazon and Notion Press in the chat box. And I don't know what's there in the agenda for you now. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the participants, for being there with all the excitement and patience to grace our event with your presence. Thank you, our guest speakers, all the contributors and reviewers, our transcribers who did a wonderful job in such a short span of time, our team of beta readers, Saurabh and Saitej for managing this event, every single person who contributed to sprout this thought of writing a book into reality. And last but not the least, thank you so much, Sreeram sir, for making it happen for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, one and all.
Heartfelt thanks for all of you present over here and for being such a lively audience. Every good thing comes to an end, but the end is always a new beginning. Cheers to the new book and exciting time ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pratik. Thank you so much, Meenal. I don't know that Apeksha and Alipuria, yeah, Akshita, both of them there or not, you know, I would like to immensely thank the most toughest jobs were done by them. Thank you so much. All the support and my awesomeness community who have done an amazing job. It was their event, actually, more than my event. Loving you. Stay safe. Catch hold of this book. A part of this book, what you pay would be actually going towards the social causes. And I thank Indic Academy, who's protecting the Indian heritage and culture, for having given us a scholarship. And loving you all. Stay safe. And thank you so much. Words just cannot be put across, you know, in terms of gratitude and thanks. It's a feeling more than anything else. Okay. To every one of you, right from Mr. Manoj to Mr. TRM to Vishal Menon to PR Ramesh to Ganesh Balakrishnan to Mr. Raghotaman, so many of them had done an amazing contribution to make this book a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, sir, for the book launch.
Thank you. Thank you, Meenal. Thank you, Pratik, for this is, I think, a virtual book launch which you are doing, and I think you guys have done a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Officially, the event is over. If anybody wants to say anything, we can say. You know, we want to start on time and end on time. And we didn't want, I told Pratik, you know, no, don't tell anybody that, you know, you have to stop the speech. You know, let them go on. And the book was available at Amazon by 6:59 p.m. Okay. It got listed at 6:59 p.m. In fact, tell Vishal, please tell Shweta, I told her that you have to get it listed before 7 p.m. and she did it by 6:59. And that was an amazing thing from Notion Press. So grateful to you guys for having done a wonderful job. Yes, Mr. John Koshi, Amazon.com, it'll be available. It's getting listed on Friday because Amazon.com International, they take around 5 days to do some quality check. Kenya, UK, US, Canada, Australia, all over the world, it will be available in the next 5 days. E-Kindle version will be available in 12 days. And the book will be available in various leading stores and also Amazon and the Notion Press and Flipkart. And you have the coupon codes to buy it in Notion Press, not a problem. Yes. I leave the parting shot to Meenal and Pratik. And can Saurabh show his face? You can't be always behind. You're the next author with me. Thank you so much. Okay. Can I have Subbu is there, my brother? Yes, anyway. Is he there? I don't know. Okay. So entire awesomeness community and a lot of people, I think at this point in time, I have to thank everybody. Acknowledgement itself is a big thing. Read the acknowledgement first. Thank you. Thank you, Subbu. Thank you so much. Saitej is there? Thank you, Subbu. Thanks a lot for your input.
Congrats, Sreeram, congrats.
Yes. Mr. Raghuram, you want Amazon or you want Saitesh? Thank you so much. You sacrificed your last 4 months. I grabbed
my pleasure, my pleasure.
It's all there in acknowledgement. Okay, and technology enabled. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And Raghuram, you're looking for Amazon or Notion Press? Mr. Raghuram.
The slide will be added to the Facebook page for coupon codes.
Okay. No problem. Right. So good night. Thank you so much. Meenal Sharma Kohli. You didn't say Meenal Sharma Kohli today. Okay. Thank you. Amazing job. Great job, MCs. And in spite of, we didn't want to cut short any speaker, but some of them, the person who said 2 minutes went for 6 minutes, 7 minutes. It's okay. But still we managed to close it by 8:30 exactly.
Congratulations to you, sir, for your first event, and it has been turned into a successful event. Many congratulations to you.
And very soon, my third or fourth book will be with you and Saurabh. That's great.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now take care of your engagement. Your fiancée is waiting. Go ahead.
She is in the event.
Yeah. Okay. I'm stopping the recording.